Good morning and namaste to all of you. Let's do prayers before we start our class. Om Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parbrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Bhur Bhuvaswa, Tatsavitra Vareneyam, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Diyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Asto ma sadgamya, tamso ma jyotirgamya, mrityorma amritam gamya. Om sehna vavtu, sehna bhunaktu, saviryam karvavahi, tejasvi navadhitamastu, ma vidvishavahi. Om shanti, shanti, shanti. Our scriptures say that every soul is destined to be perfect, and every being in the end will attain the state of perfection. Whatever we are now is the result of our acts, our thoughts in the past, and whatever we shall be in the future will be the result of what we think and do now. But this, the shaping of our own destinies, does not preclude our receiving help from outside. In fact, in the vast majority of cases, such help is absolutely necessary. When it comes, the higher powers and possibilities of the soul are quickened. Spiritual life is awakened. Growth is animated. And person becomes holy and perfect in the end. This quickening impulse cannot be derived from books. The soul can only receive impulses from another soul and from nothing else. We may study books all our lives. We may become very intellectual, but in the end, we find that we have not developed at all spiritually. It is not true that a high order of intellectual development always goes hand in hand with a proportionate development of the spiritual side in a person. So in other words, every Vidwan is not a Jnani. In studying books, we are sometimes deluded into thinking that we are being spiritually helped. But if we analyze the effect of the study of books on ourselves, we shall find that at the utmost, it is only our intellect which is driving the profit from such studies, not our inner spirit. This inadequacy of books to quicken spiritual growth is the reason why, although almost every one of us can speak most wonderfully on spiritual matters, we all can just talk about that we should be non-violent, we should be truthful, we should not be greedy, we should not get angry. But when it comes to actions and living of a truly spiritual life, we find ourselves so awfully deficient. So to quicken this, the spirit must come from another soul. The person from whose soul such impulse comes is called the Guru. And the person to whose soul the impulse is conveyed is called the Shishya. the student. To convey such an impulse to any soul, in the first place, the soul from which it proceeds must possess the power of transmitting it, as it were, to another. And in the second place, the soul to which it is transmitted must be fit to receive it. So the receiver has to be ready, but the transmitter has to be proper. So in other words, the seed must be a living seed, and the field must be ready, plowed. And when both these conditions are fulfilled, a wonderful growth of genuine religion takes place. And religion, that means the joining. The true preacher of religion has to be of wonderful capabilities. And clever shall be his hearer be. In our Vedas it says, Acharyo Vakta Kushlo Asya Labdha. So the skillfulness has to be there. That means very extraordinary powers, extraordinary capabilities. Then will a splendid spiritual awakening result, and not otherwise. Such alone are the real teachers, and such alone are also the real students, the real Shishya, the aspirants. All others are only playing with spirituality. They have just a little curiosity awakened, just a little intellectual aspiration kindled in them, but are merely standing on the outward fringe of the horizon of spirituality. There is no doubt some value even in that. In course of time, it will result in awakening of a real thirst for union. And it is a mysterious law of nature that as soon as the field is ready, the seed must and does come. As soon as the soul earnestly desires to have religion, the transmitter of the religious force must and does appear to help that person. That's why they say that whenever the Shishya is ready, the Guru appears. When the power that attracts the light of religion in the receiving soul is full and strong, the power which answers to that attraction and sends to light does come as a matter of course. This is the law. There are, however, certain great dangers in the way. There is, for instance, the danger to the receiving soul of its mistaking momentary emotions for a real spiritual yearning. We may study that in ourselves. Many a time in our lives, somebody dies whom we loved. We receive a blow. We feel that the world is slipping between our fingers, that we want something surer and higher, and that we must become religious. In a few days, that wave of feeling passes away. And we are left stranded just where we were before. We are, all of us, often mistaking such impulses for real thirst. But as long as these momentary emotions are mistaken, that continuous, real craving of the soul for religion will not come. And we shall not find the true transmitter of spirituality into our nature. So whenever we are tempted to complain of our search after the truth that we desire so much, proving vain, instead of so complaining, our first duty ought to be to look into our own heart. And we find whether the craving in the heart is real or not. Then after that, the vast majority of cases, we will find that we are not fit to receive the proper guidance. We haven't prepared ourselves yet. And on the other hand, there's a great danger in regard to the transmitter, the gurus also these days. So the receivers are not ready, the transmitters are not there either. There are many who, though immersed in ignorance, yet in the pride of their hearts, they think that they know everything. And they think they are offering the right thing. It's almost like a blind leading the blind. Both fall into the ditch. Avidyaham antrehe vartamana swayam dhiraha pandit manyamana. Indrimanaha paryanstihi moodaha anyeva niyamana yatha anta. This is from the scriptures. In fact, this is from the Khetarpal. And we have studied that. It means the fools dwelling in darkness, wise in their own conceit, pulled up with vain knowledge, go round and round, staggering to and fro like blind men led by the blind. And right now, we all know the world is full of these. Everyone wants to be a teacher. Every beggar wants to make a gift of $1 million. Just as these beggars are ridiculous, so are these teachers. So then how are we to know the real teacher from them? Remember, the sun requires no torch to make him visible. We need not light a candle in order to see the sun. When the sun rises, we instinctively become aware of the fact. And when a teacher comes to help us, the soul will instinctively know that truth has already begun to shine upon it. Truth stands on its own evidence. It does not require any other testimony to prove it true. That's why they call it, it's self-evident, self-effulgent. It penetrates into the innermost corners of our nature. And in its presence, the whole universe stands up and says, this is the truth. So that means if we are ready, we will know when the Guru arrives. So we cannot beg for a Guru. We cannot search for a Guru. We got to become ready to receive the teachings. The teachers whose wisdom and truth shine like the light of the sun are the very greatest the world has known. They are worshipped as gods by the major portion of the mankind. But initially, we may get help from comparatively lesser ones also. Because in the beginning, we don't possess intuition enough to judge properly of the person from whom we receive teachings and guidance. So there ought to be a certain tests, certain conditions for the teachers to satisfy, as there are also for the student. The conditions necessary for the student are purity. Is our mind and heart pure? So this is the sadhana we need to do before we look for a teacher. Purify ourselves at every level. Our words also, our thoughts also, our body also. Purity. Then there has to be a real thirst after knowledge. Do we have that kind of a thirst? Are we pipasu? Thirsty for that knowledge? And the third condition is perseverance. Can we do the sadhana which a teacher tells us? Can we do it regularly? Can we let go of the low for that high? Or do we get entangled into this material world so easily? So purity and the real thirst and the perseverance. If we have impurity in us, we cannot walk on this path. So purity in thought, speech, and actions were absolutely necessary for anyone to be a Shishya. And as to the thirst after knowledge, it is an old law that we all get whatever we want. Okay? None of us can get anything other than what we fix our hearts upon. To pant for spirituality today is a very difficult thing, not at all so easy as we generally imagine. Too many worldly temptations. They just take our attention away from spirituality. Hearing religious talks or reading religious books is no proof yet of a real want felt in the heart. There must be a continuous struggle, a constant fight, an unremitting grappling with our lower nature. I'm talking about the material nature. Till the higher want is actually felt and the victory is achieved. Any given time, look into your mind. What is it thinking about? The objects of this world, this body, the relatives, or is it thinking about God? It's not a question of 1 or 2 days, of years, or of lives. The struggle may have to go on for hundreds of lifetimes. Because sometimes we think, oh, I have walked on this path for a few weeks now, or I have gone to the retreat, but I don't see any change. The success sometimes may come immediately, but we must be ready to wait patiently even for what we may look like an infinite length of time. And that's why the third thing I said, third qualification, perseverance. There's no time limit. It's not that one day or one lifetime. It can happen in one day in certain cases because they have already done the work. The student who sets out with such a spirit of perseverance will surely find success and realization at last. Because the end result is the same for all of us. Rishi Patanjali talked about in Yoga Sutras very clearly for us. We are all moving there, moving towards it. And it's up to us. Do we want to go there right now? Or do we want to just take the longer route? And in regard to the teacher, so these were the three main qualifications. There are a lot of some qualifications also, but these are the three main, remember that. So because when there are fewer, we can remember purity, seeking for the true knowledge, and perseverance. And in regard to the teacher, we must see that he knows the spirit of the scriptures. The whole world reads the Quran, the Bible, the Vedas, a lot of other scriptures. Sure, there are words in there. There's a syntax, philosophy. But words are only the dry bones of religion. The teacher who deals too much in words allows the mind to be carried away by the force of the words, loses spirit. It is the knowledge of the spirit of the scriptures alone that constitutes the true religious teacher. So that's why we need a guru who can open up those words for us. Not just memorization of the words alone. The network of the words of scriptures is like a huge forest in which the human mind often loses itself and finds no way out. So that's why we need a guru who can open it up for us. Clear all that, the little bushes in that forest, so that we can find the way. In our scriptures it says, Shabd Jalam Maha Aranyam Chit Brahman Karanam. The network of words is a big forest. It is the cause of a curious wandering of the mind. Chit Brahman. So there's various methods of joining words, various methods of speaking in beautiful language, various methods of explaining the diction of the scriptures are only for the disputations and enjoyment of the learned. Often people just argue what is the right way of saying some mantras. They argue. वाग वैखरी शब्द भरी शास्त्र व्याख्यान कौशल वैदृश्यम विदुषः तद्वत् भुक्ते न तु मुक्ते. Those who employ such methods to impart religion to others are only desirous to show off their learning. Because sometimes we want to show off how much we know. That is not spirituality. We have to see that after going through all these scriptures, is there more purity in us or not? Are we moving towards the right, the correct knowledge or not? There is a story in our scriptures by saintly people that there were some men who went into a mango orchard, and they were busy counting the leaves, counting the twigs and the branches, examining their color, comparing their size, noting down everything very carefully. And then they were discussing about it, about all these topics. Sure, they all were very interested in these topics, but there was a one man in that group of men, more sensible than others, did not care for all these things, instead began to eat the mangoes. And wasn't he wise? Because why would people go into the mango orchard to count the trees and the leaves? So the kind of a work, the kind of a place we live, that is not our spiritual domain. You will never see a strong spiritual man among these leaf counters. The highest glory of a human being does not require so much labor. If you want to be a bhagat, it's not at all necessary for you to know whether Krishna was born in Mathura or in Rajya. What he was doing, or just the exact date on which he pronounced the teachings of the Gita, or how long the Gita lasted when he was talking to Arjuna. We need to require to feel the craving for the beautiful lessons of the duty and the love in Gita. How to connect with God. All the other particulars about it and its author are of the enjoyment of the love light. Let them have whatever they desire. They will have a lot of controversies, but we need to eat the mangoes. The second condition necessary in the teacher is sinlessness. So the first was, teacher should know the scriptures, the essence of the scriptures. The second is, a guru has to be sinless. The question is often asked, why should we look into the character and the personality of a teacher? We have only to judge of what he says and take that up. A lot of people say that. This is not right. If a person wants to teach me something of dynamics, of chemistry, or any other physical science, he may be anything he likes, because what the physical sciences require is merely an intellectual equipment. But in the spiritual sciences, it is impossible from first to last that there can be any spiritual light in the soul that is impure. Because sin means impurity. What religion can an impure person teach? So for the teacher, the guru, we must see first what he is, then what he says must be perfectly pure. Then alone comes the value of his words. Because if he's the true transmitter, we got to see what can he transmit. If he has not spiritual power in himself, how can he transmit the truth? There must be some worthy vibrations of spirituality in the mind of the teacher, the Guru, so that it may be sympathetically conveyed to the mind of the Shishya. So the function of the Guru is indeed an affair of the transference of something, because Guru is a transferring and not one of the stimulation of the existing intellectual or other faculties in the Shishya. So something real and appreciable as an influence comes from the Guru and goes to the Shishya. So that's why the Guru has to be pure. So the Shishya has to keep on working on the purity, but the Guru should already be at that level. And the third condition is in regard to the motive of the Guru. The Guru must not teach with any ulterior selfish motive. And what could be those? Money, name, or fame. The Guru's work must be simply out of love, out of pure love for the mankind at large. The only medium through which spiritual force can be transmitted is love. Lord Krishna talked about it several times in Bhagavad Gita alone. In Uddhav Gita also we see that. Any selfish motive such as the desire for gain or for name will immediately destroy this conveying medium. We all know that God is love. And only he who has known God as love can be a teacher of godliness and God to man. Love. When you see that in your teacher, in your Guru, these conditions are all fulfilled, you are safe. So you see the love also. You don't see any other motive, any other ulterior motive. You know the Guru knows the essence of the scriptures, and you see the purity in the Guru also. Then you are lucky enough to have found a Guru like that. Then we have to be the Shishya of that kind, who can connect with a Guru like that. If they are not, it is unsafe to allow yourself to be taught by the Guru, if you don't see these qualities. Because there is a great danger. If a Guru cannot convey goodness in our heart, what will happen to our heart? We will see the wickedness. So pure Guru, purity in the Guru will transmit the purity in the heart of the Shishya. But the wickedness in the Guru's heart will be carried into the hearts of the Shishya. This danger must by all means be guarded against. He who is learned in the scriptures, sinless, unpolluted by lust, and is the greatest knower of the Brahm, is the real teacher. Lord Krishna said that in Bhagavad Gita. Brahma Vidva. From what has been said, it naturally follows that we cannot be taught to love, appreciate, and assimilate religion everywhere and by everybody. Because the books are like a running brooks. sermons in the stones, we cannot really feel that. Nothing can impart to a person a single grain of truth unless he has the undeveloped germs of it in itself. So there has to be an inkling inside our heart. Only then this will grow. Because otherwise, to whom do the stones and the brooks preach sermons? When the heart has been opened, it becomes fit to receive teachings from the stones and the brooks also, the stars and the sun also, the moon, anything which has its existence in our divine universe. But we have to open our heart, purify our heart. It's almost like a blind man can go into a museum, will not profit anyway. His eyes must be opened first. Then alone he'll be able to learn what the things in the museum can teach. So the same way as students, as Shishya, we need to work on ourselves first. This eye-opener of the Shishya after religion is the teacher, actually. With the teacher, therefore, our relationship is the same as that between an ancestor and his descendant. Without faith, humility, submission, veneration in our hearts towards our religious teachers, there cannot be any growth of religion in us. It is a significant fact. And where this kind of a relation between the teacher, the guru, and the disciple prevails, there is a gigantic growing, we see. Religion, which is the highest knowledge and the highest wisdom, they say cannot be bought. Nor can it be acquired from books. You may thrust your head into all the corners of the world. You may explore the Himalayas or the caves. You may go towards the bottom of the sea, pry into every nook of the Tibet and or even the untouched places of this earth you can go. But until your heart is ready for receiving this spirituality, and unless you are in the presence of a guru, it will not happen. And when that divinely appointed guru comes, what do the scriptures say? They say, serve him with the childlike confidence and simplicity. Freely open your heart to Guru's influence and see in him God manifested. Anybody who sees the difference between God and the Guru is not truly seeing. Those who come to seek truth with such a spirit of love and veneration, to them the Lord of truth reveals the most wonderful things regarding truth, goodness, and beauty. I'm going to stop here and we can discuss. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaye Purnameva Visheshyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you very much.